moving forward, enough said about internship, although you might have questions, but I think we can move to young professionals. This is another program which is very close to our heart and very close to the Secretary General heart, because it's a program, and we'll go and see it, that is lasting 3 years. Actually, my colleague that will follow has worked on it right at the beginning. So he will probably also be able to tell you more. We are running the second cycle. The first cycle is going into the 3rd year in November. It's cycles of 3 years. What are we trying to do with this young professionals program? We're trying to develop a pool of highly qualified candidates. It's kind of like a career accelerator we're trying to do here, and with a wide, broad NATO experience. Why? Because these people rotate between NATO bodies, and we'll see how in the next slide, I believe. So actually, it will help us have a greater coordination and coherence among NATO bodies in the way we work and deliver key objectives. So what happens if you are recruited as a young professional for the young professional program? You become a NATO civilian, so an officer at a G11, so grade 11. I won't go into details, but everything is quite transparent online. But you become a NATO officer for 3 years. Every year is spent in a different NATO body. This is clear before you finish your recruitment and selection. So let's say you apply for a legal path, you will do probably legal affairs in 3 different NATO bodies, in 3 different declinations, like slightly different teams, slightly different projects, but that's the purpose. It's a NATO-wide effort, so it's quite complex to manage because it's across different NATO bodies that exchange talent yearly. And of course, there's some work done by these people to put together what they learn from different NATO bodies. As I said, it's very close and cherished by our Secretary General, our Deputy Secretary General that opens all of them. So it's a very interesting program to be in. Currently, we're finalizing the selection for the 26 cycle, so the second cycle we're launching. And we are going to open a new cycle in March 2024. So there's going to be another selection in about 6 months, slightly less now, 5 months. It's a yearly launch, so every year we'll launch 1 cycle. And the start for the launch that is selected right now is happening in September 2024. Hopefully all the other launches will follow the same logic at a year distance. So another slide about work areas, so young professional program work areas. As you see, some you would imagine seeing on there, I suppose. Cyber defense, operation, research and analysis. What about, other things that would be management, finance and economics? Maybe not something you immediately thought about. People management and development. So a number of different paths that could be interesting to students that are not the typical NATO paths in there. Again, I'll share this one for further reference. Eligibility again, but for the young professional program. So it's slightly different from an internship program. First of all, you need to be of a member country, you need to be 21, that's for all NATO positions. But the difference is you need to have completed your master's degree. So you need to have completed your master's degree when you apply to it, and tell us what your master's degree is. You declare it when you apply. And the second thing is you have at least 1 year of demonstrated experience in the field. And that is not professional experience in inverted comma like the one of a internship, which was a bit larger because it's really like people starting their career. Here we'd like to see at least 1 year of solid work experience within a field. maybe a field close, ideally the same field or similar field you apply to, or at least you'll help us draw a conclusion on how these two fields actually could match together. But it's interesting, your master's, your 1 year of experience, if it all connects together to apply to a path that always is of interest for us. There's a video on young professionals. Some of you might have seen it. It's a very lively music, and it goes like, "Are you the one in a billion?" But it's on here, and you'll be able to see it. There's not many positions in young professionals. It's about 12 positions. Different scope than the internship, but an interesting one for sure to think about. So what do we offer? A diverse international experience. So it might be that you start your young professional year in Brussels and you end up in Virginia, for example, in the US. It's a solid 3 years of professional experience and, of course, some networking within NATO. If you are already in, it's easier to spot opportunities and apply for them if that's what you decide to do. An accelerator for your career. It's always a very good, I guess, business card for moving across other organizations. And a wide portfolio of benefits. So it's really the same as you would have if you're an official within NATO. So you have a competitive and tax-free salary. You have additional benefits depending on whether they apply to you. I'm not going to go into the details, but expatriate, if you have kids, if you have a spouse, etc., etc. Excellent health coverage and 30 days of home leave and some pension scheme that goes on top. So you're officially a NATO official for those 3 years. All of these details, the details of everything is also published. So there's no, there's quite a transparency around salaries. They can be found online quite easily if you're curious. Where do we apply? So consult the YPP website. Also go back into your careers, as I said before, and find the next cycle. You can also create an account on Taleo. So you create an account, although you're not actively applying, you leave it there for the moment you apply. You can start preparing it. So putting all your details in there, your CV, your work experience so far, and then you can go back and tailor it the moment you decide to apply for something. But if you want to put yourself forward, you could already do some work about it right now. So a few tips. We have a feed. You can register to the NATO website and say you're interested in finance opportunity, and then you will get everything that has, some words with some finance and buzzwords within finance in your inbox weekly. So the system will tell you these have been published. Would you like to apply for it? I would, if you're interested in NATO, I would definitely follow social media for NATO. While public diplomacy runs Instagram and Facebook for NATO, LinkedIn is run by the human resources. So you will see there is a LinkedIn Live page, which means that there's stories about what happens, testimonials, people talking about what they do all day and which capacity. We're currently putting together a podcast of people working for NATO, so I'm hoping to have it out before the end of the year. But there's a lot to learn, if you're curious, a lot to find out just by following the social media of international staff, but also of other NATO agencies that are there. So, and of course, complete and submit your application when you're ready and you found something that is right for you.